Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, David, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, boys.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello. Sup, nerds?
We are back. This time, we're taking a look at the monocolored or single-colored, if you want to include the colorless, legendary creatures from Wilds of Eldraine. That is right. We are going through, giving our commander grades. If you don't know what that means, well, we talk about the card, talk about what they can be as a commander, give them a grade at the end, and then just a consensus grade at the end. But before we get started, we just want to make an announcement. We are going to Magic Con Las Vegas. That is right. We will be there. The Guys of Magic. If you see us there, feel free to say hi. We will have some cool stuff for you. Let's go ahead and get started with the Black Legendaries. First up, we have got Lord Skitter, Sewer King. It's 2 and a black for a 3/3 legendary creature, Rat Noble. It says whenever another rat enters the battlefield under your control, exile up to one target card from an opponent's graveyard. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. Pretty awesome that this is happening every single turn.
Yeah, token generation, dude. Every turn seems legit.
Not
I mean,
just
it's
token.
every one of your turns.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. Every one of your turns, it's amazing that it enters and it also triggers because it's entering. It's going to exile up to one target card from an opponent's graveyard every turn that you have. So, seems decent.
If you're playing rat, let's go, dude.
I don't even think you need to play rats with this card.
I guess
Okay.
not.
Let's think about this though. So being able to remove a single piece of your opponent's graveyard, like it's cool. I mean, I guess like if your opponent is playing like a very specific reanimation style deck, yeah, sure, that's fine. But like you are hating on a very particular kind of deck. I don't think that I don't think that cards like what is it, like Kurinos, that just straight up like shut down the graveyard are even really relevant. So this one being like a much slower version of that with kind of like worse stats. I don't think the first part of the card is even relevant. And then the second part of the card, you make a 1/1 on your turn. I don't want a commander that makes a 1/1 only on my turns. I'm not high on this card at all.
I mean, if you're pumping the rats up, maybe.
Yeah, sure, if you're pumping the rats up, but I mean if you want to play rat tribal, there are really good options for rat tribal, and this is not it.
Yeah.
So just like David said, I mean, there are much better rat commanders. Now, granted, I understand your point, Hunter, that you don't really have to do rats. But, I mean, so you're exiling a card from an opponent's graveyard? That's it? And you make a 1/1 rat?
That's it.
I mean, this is so boring. Like, I hate saying that because, I mean, obviously, like, this back in the day would have been an amazing card. But, like, I think we're just... Power creep has really been a thing. Like, I think that there are so many cool things you could do, and this is not one of them.
Yeah, this, I don't know. It does give you, I guess, sack fodder if you want to, but I mean, like, if you're going that route, you're playing mono black. This kind of reminds me of like Jadar Ghoulcaller, but he's cheaper and makes bigger tokens.
I mean, what I will say is, like, when you bring this out and you're not like camping out the LGS and you're like, all right, who's got the reanimator deck? Let me go sit at their table. Like, if you just happen to hit a table and somebody's playing graveyard shenanigans, I think this card is really good. But I mean, for that, I'll say the 80% of the other time, this card's not really going to do you anything.
I still feel like the average table that you play at, someone is going to care about their graveyard.
I mean, the average table you play at, there's probably going to be 3 people that care about their graveyard. And this is so slow with its removal that, like, even if you are playing this to shut your opponent's graveyards down, there's a chance that your opponents are just going to outpace your graveyard removal.
Well, unless you're playing other rats.
True, if you are playing other rats, it hits every rat.
I'm still expecting you to be playing other rats.
Yeah. They're just
I would
different ways to
love-
build Lord Skitter.
I would love to see this across the table from like a Beamtown Bullies deck.
See, like, and that's my thought. Like, there is a world in which this is okay if you're specifically targeting like that one piece that they're trying to reanimate. But my thought there being is like, just go play one of the commanders that actually shut the graveyard off.
I understand. But this still, like you said, it still makes a body. And I think, I don't know, I think it's decent. But let's move on to the grades. Lord Skitter, for me, is getting a C.
You know what? I think I'm actually going to join you at a C, which I know sounds wonky, but I think that in a good world, this is kind of fun, but not a great world.
I think it's just too narrow. I think I'm gonna give it a D for that reason.
I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be a little bit more harsh in this video. This is not a creature that I think is great, good in any capacity. This is an F.
The average grade for Lord Skitter is going to be a D. Moving on to another rat. This is Old Flitterfang. Old Flitterfang is 4 and a black for a 3/4 legendary creature rat fairy. It's got flying, and it says at the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, create a food token. It also has another ability where it can pay 2 and a black, sacrifice another creature or artifact. Old Flitterfang gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Oof.
Old Flitterfang. Look at that rat with wings.
I
So
didn't. Yeah, that's scary. Sorry, go ahead.
So if you are planning on playing like a food-based deck, this does trigger on every end step. So if you are really trying to maximize like sacrificing things, because there's obviously tons of ways for you to do that in black, you can potentially be making 4 food tokens per turn rotation. So I mean, that's a lot of food.
It also has the own sack outlet on it, which is also nice.
Yeah. And I mean, like mono black does have ways for you to be able to capitalize off this. Like Marionette Master is a card that like anytime that you're going to like capitalize on that food, so anytime you put one of the foods into your graveyard, you'll be able to hurt your opponents off this, and this is going to be able to net you a ton of food. So this could actually be kind of a fun little like way for you to make a artifact matters, life gain matters, sacrificey black deck. Plus, this creature does have flying, which I feel like can be kind of relevant too.
Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I like Old Flitterfang.
I think he's actually kind of cool. I don't think he's like super powerful, but I like the design.
Flitterfang, by the way.
I think you guys are kind of overlooking a pretty big part of this card, and that it costs 5.
I didn't
not
say this
overlooking
card was good.
Oh, I'm just saying, this would be like for the way you were talking it up. I guess not up, but the way you're talking about it, I would have thought you would think this is like a 3 mana, 4 mana. That 5 mana, that just seems like it's not gonna be relevant for a while. So you're not gonna really be making food for a long time in the game.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I completely agree with you. I just look at it from the standpoint of like, if I were to build this deck, this would be a deck that is like, it's a cool gimmicky deck. It's not really something that I'm like setting out and hoping to win a ton of games with. More so just like, I'm trying to have fun. I'm playing something that is weird and obscure, and I like this design.
So jank.
Yeah, this is the jank commander. And I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with that, and he's not going to get a very high grade from me. But like, I like the design.
I understand.
Steven.
I mean, I don't really have anything to add, man. This is 5 mana for a 3/4. And I don't really think you're doing anything the turn this comes down.
You're making food.
I mean, if something died, you'll make a food, sure.
That's true.
But I mean, if you do this on curve and you play this turn 5, don't swing with anything, or if you do swing with something and something dies, okay, cool,
Or sack it.
sure. But what I'm saying is, you're playing this turn 5,
Yeah, I understand.
so I don't really think anything's going to happen.
You
So,
could
I
have
mean, you
one
have
of
to wait a whole
on
turn.
the
cycle,
altars.
actually.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways for you to be able to sacrifice things for free in black.
Sure. I mean, I will hopefully have that in my hand, or spend a ton of money on this commander that doesn't really need it to put expensive cards in it. I'm not a big fan.
Vizia Seer and Carry On Feeder are not expensive.
They're not. But I hope to God, like if I have them in my hand, sure.
Let's move on to the grades. David, what do you give an Old Flitterfang?
I'm going to give him a D. He's a jank commander, and I really like him, but he's not powerful.
I agree with you, David. I'm gonna be giving it a D.
I'm still sticking middle of the road for Old Flitterfang. He's getting a C.
Old Flitterfangs getting a D.
Old Flitterfang is getting the average grade of a D. Fun word to say.
Old Flitterfang. I just wanted to join in. Sorry.
Old Flitterfang. Next up, Imodane, the Pyrohammer. It is 2 and 2 red for a 4/4 legendary creature human knight. It says whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Imodane deals that much damage to each opponent.
Hunter, you were really big on this when we talk about spoiler. Can you now talk about it more?
I was not a fan of this in EDH, but I was a fan of it in Standard.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was vice versa. Sorry. Okay.
No.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
because in EDH you can target, or not target. In EDH you can have all your opponents be losing life, but yeah.
That's interesting to me because I feel like this is a really kind of weird and cool design. So like it or she's going to be dealing the damage. So if you put something like a basilisk collar on this, then all of a sudden like she's got lifelink. So there's going to be a ton of life that you could be gaining. And there are plenty of ways for you to be able to double or triple your damage output in red. So like you could cast a lightning bolt and hit something for 6, 9 damage.
Hell yeah, dude.
Good point,
Hmm.
Dave.
I
I
believe it's
think this
the
card is great, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really do love this card. I mean, mono red obviously has tons of spells that target creatures just to deal damage. And then, I mean, if I just hit, like, for instance, let's just say just the most well-known one, Lightning Bolt. If I do that to one creature, it deals 3 damage to each opponent, and I hopefully take out one of your creatures. I mean, that in itself is fantastic. Not to mention if we do anything like, I don't know, Shane, is there a mono red spell that does triple damage or anything like that?
yeah, dude. City on fire, baby.
I mean, Fire Emancipation, City on Fire. I mean, there's tons of doubling effects. I mean, this is really good.
This card just made me think of a artifact that I haven't thought about in a long time. I think this putting in like Pyromancer's goggles, dude, would be so sick in a deck like this. You start casting spells, you start copying the spells. Like that's really sick.
Yeah, I can see how this card is good now. Thanks for opening my eyes, guys.
No problem. That's what we're here for.
Let's move on to the grades. What are you giving it, Shane?
Oh, that's scary.
You want me to go first, buddy?
No, I'll do it. I'll be brave. Since this did make me think of a lot of fun things, I think I'm gonna go B, guys.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy.
Whoa.
What do you mean, whoa? I was super high on this card.
Yeah, just saying wow and whoa.
I know. You sounded surprised. I mean, I'm going B. I do want to go A, but obviously this is mono red, not really known for its mana ramp, and I don't know how many times this is probably going to die.
I think that the fact that your deck is probably going to be filled with bad cards whenever this creature is not in play is what is really going to drag it down. Because, like, we talk about Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Bolt is probably going to be included in a deck like this, but Lightning Bolt is actually not a good card in Commander. It doesn't really kill a whole lot of things. So, if your Commander is not in play, I can see this deck not doing much, and coming in at 4 mana to begin with, I feel like there's a really good chance that your deck just kind of gets shut off and you don't do much.
That's a lot to say to give this card a B, David. I really don't understand.
Oh, that's because I'm giving it a C.
Yeah, I'm joining David. This is a C from me.
Hey, but at least you went up, Hunter.
It's true. You guys brought me to a different level, and I appreciate that.
We elevated you.
Imodane, the Pyrohammer, is getting the average grade of a B. Next up, Goddric, Cloaked Reveler. It is 1 and 2 red for a 3/3 legendary creature, human noble. It has haste, and it has celebration, which means as long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, Goddric Cloaked Reveler is a dragon. Base power and toughness 4/4, flying, and pay a red. Dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Wow. Dragons. Steven, you've played with dragons, right? You got the Dragon, I believe.
I do. I don't know. No. Just
Yeah.
no.
You get a card that sometimes becomes a slightly bigger card that's still not great.
You can sink a bunch of mana into to make it bigger, and I feel like commander damage can hit pretty quickly, especially with
that's
it having flying.
Sure,
It-
it'll be a 4/4 that gets +1/+0, has some evasion, and then gets blocked by a 1/1 fairy.
that could
Okay.
happen. And I mean,
Very
that is also assuming that you've met its celebration clause.
Yeah, I understand. You can
I
make
think
treasure.
I mean, I don't wanna-
Celebration clause.
Yeah, I don't want to dig too deep into the celebration. I'm assuming if obviously you're playing this as your commander, you have built around the deck to the point where you are probably going to hit that clause multiple times.
Oh, this is a treasure deck for sure.
I think we were just more excited on this card in standard because it just was stronger, for my opinion. I don't really see this being a commander as much.
I don't know. I think, like I said, if you're putting like Dockside in the deck, Dockside will come down, make a whole bunch of treasures. That'll make the claws go off, and then you fly in with this at someone, and then burn all the treasures to give it +1/+0. You're hitting for a lot of damage there for a commander.
It's a great turn you just thought of, dude.
Is this the part where I can join in and I can use Steven's argument of I don't want to play a bad commander and fill it with a bunch of high expensive money cards?
Ooh, I like this. Do
or
it.
are you
Say it.
building around it?
If I have a copy of Dockside Extortionist and I'm debating on which deck to put it in, it's not this one.
Unless you want to play this one, it is.
I will give it a plus up, though. It does have a dude in the background who's bald and bearded, so the card can't be that bad.
Okay.
You're dumb.
Let's
Thank you.
move on to the grades. David, what are you giving Goddric?
You know what? I'm going to stick with my instinct on this one. Maybe I'm just going to be more aggressive with these moving forward, but this is an F. This is a card that I not only would not play as a commander, I would not put it in the 99.
David, that's kind of rough, man. Which is why I'm going to agree with you and give it an F.
Wow. I'm over here thinking the card does a thing, so I'm going to give it a D.
I'm going to join you there, Shane. Card does a thing. It's getting a D. Goddric, Cloaked Reveler gets the average grade of a D. And the final card we're talking about today is a colorless card. It is Sir Ginger, the Meal Ender. 2 generic mana for a 3/1 legendary artifact creature, food, night. It says Sir Ginger the Meal Ender has trample, hexproof, and haste as long as an opponent controls a planeswalker. And whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. You can also pay 2, tap it, sacrifice Sir Ginger. You gain life equal to its power.
You can eat the cookie for 3 life.
True.
2 mana, you mean?
What?
You mean without any +1/+1 counter on it?
I mean, okay, yeah, sure. You can do that.
Yeah, it's a normal food, and then it gets buffed and turns into a bigger, badder food. I like the flavor.
What flavor
No
is it?
pun intended.
I think, speaking of flavor, I think that top line of text is flavor text, unless you're playing against Super Friends, but
Not necessarily. I feel like most
you think
EDH
most
decks has it. 1 planeswalker? Yeah.
Okay. So by that logic, though, if
Okay.
most decks have 1 planeswalker,
You'll never
then
see it.
yeah, your chances of actually having that top line be relevant is incredibly small. And even in the case that it does come out with haste and hexproof and trample, it's a 3/1. Trample is not going to be relevant here because that's not very important. It's haste is kind of cute, but like it's still just a 3/1. And then hexproof, like, do I even want to kill my opponent's planeswalkers and shut my creature down, or am I just gonna like swing at somebody else?
It's a 3/1 with trample until you start sacrificing other treasures or other artifacts.
See,
Give it +1/+1.
and that's where my other negative of this card comes in. This card is colorless, which means you don't really have a whole lot of support. There's not a ton of great options for you to be able to get artifacts into the graveyard in colorless. I mean, you could do KCI, but like that's kind of the start and finish of what I'm thinking here.
Cute card, though, man.
What do you think, Steven?
I really wanted this card to be good. I really
Because
did.
you like cookies.
Well, first of all, I don't like cookies. I love cookies. Let's let that be known right now. But I mean, like, when we saw this card for spoiler season, Hunter made a good point. I mean, the flavor here is amazing. I really like that. It's quirky. It's weird. I like weird things. But unless I'm really playing against Super Friends or a Planeswalker party deck or really anything like that, I don't really find it that fun. I mean, and David brings up a great point. Am I really going to take out your Planeswalker and make this not as good?
Totally understandable. Let's move on to the grades. Steven, what are you giving Sir Ginger?
Oh, man. I actually really don't know. I was really wanting to go F, but I think I'm gonna give it a D.
Yeah, it does a thing twice in a row. It does a thing. It's a D for me.
If I'm playing in a dedicated food deck in which I want to be able to sacrifice my commander as a food, yeah, no, actually, I don't even ever want that. This card is an F. I'm sticking on flavored for tonight.
Sir Ginger is getting a D from me as well. The average grade for the meal ender is going to be a D. And that is going to do it for us today. And that is right. No mono white legendaries, no mono blue legendaries, no mono green legendaries. Yeah, I guess this set wasn't that popular with the monocolored. Very strange.
Very.
But if you like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Comment down below what you thought about these grades. Did we miss something? Did you agree? Let us know. Always interested in your opinions. And in the description, you'll find links to our Instagram, our TikTok, and our Twitter. That's at Guys at Magic for each one. Follow us on those as well. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.